The princess and the eyes in the jungle, her scream still echoes in my ears. I never knew fear could sound like that, raw, desperate, and full of something I can't describe. Princess Layla had asked me to take her deep into the jungle that morning. She wanted to see the rare blue orchids that grew near the river. I was a guide, and though I knew the jungle could be dangerous, I didn't want to disappoint her. She was kind, beautiful, and curious, too curious. We walked for hours, the heat wrapping around us like a heavy blanket. The jungle was alive with sounds, birds, insects, and the rustling of leaves. Layla was thrilled, picking flowers and laughing as she walked ahead of me. "Look," she said, pointing to a narrow trail. "This looks like it leads somewhere." I hesitated. That path wasn't on any map I knew. "We shouldn't," I said. But she smiled at me, her eyes bright. "Just a quick look. Please." The trail led us to a small clearing. The air felt different there, too quiet, too still. Layla didn't seem to notice. She walked toward a tree with thick roots twisting out of the ground. That's when I saw them. Eyes. They were watching us from the shadows, small and unblinking. I froze, my heart pounding. "Layla," I whispered. "We need to leave. Now." She turned to me, confused. "Why? What's wrong?" Before I could answer, there was a rustling sound, quick, sharp, and all around us. Shapes moved between the trees, low to the ground. I couldn't see them clearly, but I knew they were there. "Run!" I shouted, grabbing her arm. We ran back toward the trail, but the shapes were faster. They darted through the trees, staying just out of sight. Layla stumbled, and I helped her up, both of us gasping for breath. Then we heard it, a low growl, deep and guttural. I turned and saw one of them step into the light. It was a wild dog, but not like any I'd ever seen. Its fur was patchy, its ribs sticking out, and its eyes were glowing with hunger. More of them appeared, circling us. "Climb the tree," I yelled. Layla scrambled up the twisted roots, and I followed, pulling her higher as the dogs snapped at our heels. They barked and howled, their teeth flashing in the dim light. We clung to the tree as they surrounded us, waiting. Layla was shaking, her face pale. "What do we do?" she whispered. I didn't know. Hours passed, and the sun began to set. The dogs didn't leave. They just stared, their glowing eyes fixed on us. Then, as the jungle grew darker, the barking stopped. The dogs had snapped up, ears twitching. One by one, they backed away, disappearing into the shadows. "Why are they leaving?" Layla asked. That's when we heard it. A different sound. Slow, heavy footsteps. Something was coming. We never saw what it was. We didn't wait to find out. As soon as the footsteps moved past us, we climbed down and ran. We didn't stop until we were out of the jungle, our hearts racing and our bodies covered in scratch.
Layla never talked about it again, but I can't forget. Something else was in that jungle, something even the wild dogs feared.